Welcome to the Fear and Greed Business News Afternoon Report for Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2024. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, the S&P ASX 200 finished down 0.35% today to 8,177 points. The mining stocks led the way lower on a falling iron ore price. Fortescue Metals Group was the worst performer of the ASX 200, dropping more than 5%. BHP was down 2.4% and Woodside was off 1.3%. Other poor performers included QBE and Telstra. CSL was among the best performers, jumping 1.3%, while all the big banks were higher. Lithium stocks continued to rally on the back of Rio Tinto's proposed bid for Arcadium, which will be anything up to $9 billion. West African Resources jumped 7%, recouping some of yesterday's 18% slump amid concerns about the future of its mining permits in Burkina Faso. The company today said it had received confirmation from the country's Ministry of Mines and Quarries that none of its mining permits were under review. It was the best performer of the top 200 today. Story number 2, there were high expectations of more announcements from Beijing to help stimulate the world's second largest economy, though they weren't forthcoming today. That triggered a sell-off in iron ore prices, pulling down local mining stocks. As I just mentioned, the World Bank came out and said it expects China's growth to deteriorate next year, despite its recent stimulus measures, weighing on growth prospects for neighbouring countries such as Australia. The World Bank has forecast growth in China this year of 4.8%. and 4.3% next year. And before we leave that country, its share market surged today following a week-long public holiday. Markets reopened today. They were up, then they came back a bit. Oil prices, having run for 5 days straight, have come off a bit. Brent's back below $80 a barrel, and gold has fallen as traders paired expectations of interest rate cuts in the US. Story number 3, a somewhat riled Prime Minister was forced to apologise in Parliament today after he accused Shadow Treasurer Angus Taylor of having Tourette's syndrome. Anthony Albanese was asked if he would rule out any changes to the tax treatment of the owner-occupied family home into negative gearing by Mr Taylor in question time. There was plenty of interjections from the outset, and ultimately the Prime Minister blamed the opposition for blocking Labor's housing policy. He went on to say, and I quote, "This nonsense that they carry on with, have you got Tourette's or something? You know, you just sit there, babble, babble, babble." Mr Albanese then withdrew his comment 4 times and apologised. Earlier, Treasurer Jim Chalmers said Labor would not knock off the current tax breaks in any new housing policy. An interested observer today was former British Prime Minister Liz Truss, who attended question time as a guest of opposition leader Peter Dutton. Story number 4, all options remain on the table for the Reserve Bank in terms of interest rate deliberations, according to board minutes released today. And that means another interest rate hike is still a live option. The Reserve Bank board minutes for its September meeting said that there is still considerable uncertainty over the economy's outlook and future financial conditions might need to be either tighter or looser than at present to achieve the board's objectives. If household consumption picks up strongly due to the Stage 3 tax cuts or the strong jobs market, the economy's supply constraints might be greater than anticipated, and rates may need to remain higher for longer or, and I quote, tightened further. The minutes also say that monetary policy might have to be loosened if the economy proved to be weaker than expected, causing a sharp reduction in inflation. Meanwhile, Deputy Governor Andrew Hauser was speaking today. He said the central bank was determined to bring down inflation, and he genuinely doesn't know what the next move in interest rates will be. Story number 5, Chinese authorities are demanding that a growing number of school teachers and other public sector employees hand in their passports. The passport collection drive, carried out under what's known as personal travel abroad management, allows local government officials to control and monitor who can travel abroad, how often, and to where, according to a report in the Financial Times. It comes as President Xi Jinping steps up state involvement in everyday life and clamps down on official corruption. China's powerful state security apparatus has also intensified its campaign against foreign espionage. Restrictions on international travel have been greatly expanded from last year to include rank-and-file employees of schools, universities, local governments, and state-owned groups. The passport collection appears to be based on national regulations from 2003 that established a system to restrict travel for key personnel, such as mid to high-level officials, and allowed local authorities to set rules for all state employees' international travel. That's it for the afternoon report for Tuesday, the 8th of October, 2024. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning with the Wednesday edition of Fear and Greed Business News. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.